Kellie, you're live on Women Investor Wednesdays. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and I am so excited to be sitting here with you over the next hour. It's such a blessing to be even in the same realm. So I'm stoked. I'm stoked about this.
Well, and the good news, it's probably only 40 minutes. It depends, but we try to not take too much time away from people eating and doing whatever they're doing. But before we launch into your story, I want to just make sure, in case we have any new listeners or watchers, that I share why we're here, because it's super important to me. During COVID, I had heard a stat that of all of the investors in commercial real estate, only 3% were women. And of that 3%, half were either that had inherited it, good for them, or signed on their husband's guarantee and didn't really even know they're investing. So basically, I was part of 1.5%, and I thought that was awful. So I started asking my girlfriends who are in the real estate industry, so do you invest? Yes. Where do you invest? The stock market. Okay, but wait a minute. And I know you call this the golden ticket on, everyone needs to follow you on Instagram. You have great videos, and you call this the golden ticket. And I say it's free insider trading. My friends, they rep Starbucks, they find a site for Starbucks, and then they hand it over to some dude to develop it. Look, I love guys, but they never even say to the developer, hey, can I throw my fee in the deal as part of the equity? Like, they're not thinking about this, or they weren't back then. And so then I kept asking questions, and they'd say, well, I don't have $1 million. You don't need $1 million. Well, it's math, it's complicated, it's risky. So is the stock market. But then women kept saying, well, I don't know any other women doing it. And I realized, yes, that is a problem that I think I can help solve. So I did a virtual summit during COVID, and we had 100 women. I interviewed 8 people like you, great stories, great journeys about investing. And then since then, I've had 4 live events. This year will be our 6th. And we cap it at about 250 women, because what I'm seeing now in the room on our 2.5-day conference is women are starting to invest with each other, which is amazing. But that intimacy of everyone coming back and seeing the same people, they feel comfortable, they trust them, which is why they're investing with each other. So I realized if I keep capping that at 250, I'm not going to move the needle on the 3% as much, which is why, a very long story to get to why I have the podcast. And so I said, you know what? Every Wednesday night at 7:00, I'm going to interview a rock star woman who is an investor. And that way I can get 50 women a year, and we can continue to grow the numbers of investors, because if you can see it, you can be it, right?
Absolutely. Who you hang around matters so much. So when you hang around with other investors, it just happens. Just happens that way.
Right. And you talk about deals, and it's like the guys on the golf course. They talk about deals, and we're not on the golf course. And society has, shamed women. I believe this to be true. We don't talk about money. Yeah. And we need to talk about money. So, and I talk about that at the conference a lot. So I'm so glad you are here. So Kellie Revoir, tell everyone where you're from, and then and what you do. And then we're going to go back a few years and talk about your first deal.
Okay. Yay. I'm excited. I really appreciate the opportunity. I am stoked because your heart is exactly where my heart is. It is helping women. I am a single mother. You are a single mother. It is helping all of us learn that you can absolutely do it. So I am extremely grateful, and I'm looking forward to meeting your audience tonight and, in the future, whenever they reach out. So guys, reach out to me. I love it. Just like Beth, we're givers.
How old are your kids?
So my kids are 16 and 18, 2 boys.
Me
so
too,
they're older now. Yes, I know. We have so many similarities. We're like the same person. So I am currently in Southwest Missouri, Springfield to be exact, but a lot of investors hear about Branson, Missouri. So that's about 30 minutes south of me. And so Southwest Missouri area, I am a real estate agent. I grew up in real estate. We build houses as well. So that's how we got involved. My father started building in the 80s. My mother became who was just his secretary, became a licensed agent in 2006. I joined her in 2013. Now they are retired. My brother builds, I sell. I also run a team. I have a property management company, my own investments that I take care of as well. And then I do fun things like this, which is probably my favorite part. Coaching, podcast, speaking. Those are all things that I love to do because I realize how challenging and scary it is to be an investor, and I want to help. It's like I just want to like grab people and just hug them and say it'll be okay and help.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about, so how old are you?
45.
Great. So when did you make your first investment? How old were you?
37.
Yeah. So that's a lot of times people go, it's too late for me, right? Or I should have started when I was younger. Or, my first LP was at 32, but my first GP was at 44, right? And now I'm 65 and own $80 million of shopping centers with partners, with loans, not all free and clear. But it's never too late and it's never too early. It's just get started, right? So what was the first thing that because I know you have multiple investments, we're going to talk about that, but what was the first deal and how did you feel and like how much was it and did you get a loan? All the things.
Very scary. So I became officially a licensed realtor in 2013. At the time, I was actually living on welfare and raising my boys. So we were on food stamps and unemployment. And I tell you, there is nothing more driven than a single parent that has a family to raise that's getting financial help from this many people, 0 people in their lives. So we are driven, determined people to make sure that the kids are fed. So I got licensed in 2013. It wasn't until 2017 that I bought my first investment property. Back then, we still had foreclosures, which, we have not really had foreclosures over the last 5 years. So we still have foreclosures. But because I am definitely smart with money, I did not spend everything that I earned. And when you're on welfare, you learn how to stretch a dollar. So I learned how to stretch a dollar, put a whole bunch of money into savings, and was able to purchase my first one for cash and then fix it up and rent it out. I did the BRRRR method, which is really how I've built most of my portfolio is through the BRRRR method. So I did get a loan on it. I do still have a loan on it.
Tell the audience what that is, just in case they don't know.
The BRRRR method, you buy it and then you rehab it. So you basically fix it up, you rent it out, and then you refinance it to pull that money back out, and then you repeat. So BRRRR, the BRRRR method.
So how was it? A house, a townhouse? What was the first deal?
It was a house. Yeah, all the ones that I currently own are individual single families.
Okay, and how much was that first one?
It was like $49,000.
And you had saved all the money, which was great, right?
Yes.
And then you rehabbed it. How much did you invest in it?
So I rehabbed it about $20,000, and then I took the loan out for, exactly what I put in it because I wanted to make sure that my loan was $69,000, and I did a 15-year fix on my first one. 15-year fixed conventional. I got a conventional loan on it, so I just had to qualify for that. And was able to pull out every single cent that I put in it and then turn around, and I had the cash to go do it again.
So were you like, oh my God, I can't believe this? Like you were so scared.
Yeah.
What gave you the courage to overcome the fear?
I don't know that anything really gave me the courage. I just did it. My parents have always invested into real estate. So I really grew up in a family of like, this is just what you did.
This is good role models.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my gosh, just amazing role models. Again, going back to being surrounded by those types of people. And it was just what you did with money. You saved your money, you bought real estate or appreciating assets. And that was just kind of what you were supposed to do. I was terrified, especially as a single parent. My biggest concern was getting somebody knocking on my door to pay rent or calling me at 2 a.m. to tell me that a pipe blew out of it. So for my first 9 rental properties, I hired a property manager to do it.
Wow.
because I did not, because I was scared. I mean, and
Right.
I needed to learn what I was doing. And so I did hire a property manager to take care of it. And then I just kind of learned from her as I went along.
But that's, I just spoke last night to a real estate society at a college, and I was showing them for one of my early deals, and I put up this Argus spreadsheet that, you know, I said, I don't know how to do that. I still don't know how to do that. I paid someone to do that. I don't even know how to turn Excel on. They were laughing. But, it's okay that there's other skill sets that you can third party or delegate to, right? It's who, not how, right? If I don't know how to do it, who does? And let me bring them on the team. So for you, you're like, I'm a single mom. I don't want someone knocking on my door, paying rent or calling at 2 a.m. So you made a little less money because you had to pay the property manager. But for you, it was an education.
That's exactly right. I was paying for the education and the peace of mind because I was so busy just trying to raise the boys and trying to build a career that I knew if they didn't pay rent, I don't even know that I would have noticed if they hadn't paid rent until it was a few months in, and then you're trying to go after them. And
Right.
I just didn't. And if a heater broke down and the HVAC guy didn't show up, I didn't want hey, my heater broke down, me reach out to the heat guy and then say, does this day work? No. This day work?
Right.
No. Well, this guy doesn't show. I just didn't want that disaster.
Right.
I knew I would screw it up somewhere. I knew I would drop the ball somewhere. And I don't know, how do they pay you? Do they Venmo me? Do they PayPal me? Do they pay cash? What do I do with that? How do I register all of that? I had no clue what I was doing.
And so important, that you knew that about yourself and knew, okay, I can hire someone, because I would tell you, I've probably interviewed 100 women on this podcast or more, and most of them will do it themselves until they get to 10 units, and then they outsource it. So
Yeah.
at 9 units, did you say, okay, got it, I can now do it, and you took it yourself?
So full transparency, actually, now that I'm rethinking that, it was 7 units, my first 7 units. So I currently have 10, and only this last year. So if you think that's been 7 years it's taken me to finally decide to do it on my own. And here's why I finally decided that, because I'm a real estate agent and now houses aren't selling like they used to. And so I've had sellers say, we've moved to California. Can you just throw a renter in there? And I was like, okay, I guess I'll figure out how to do this. And then I'm like, okay, if I can do it for somebody else, I might as well start doing it for me. So the last 2 that I bought last year, one of them already had a tenant in it. And then one of them I had to put a tenant in it. So it was just kind of a natural, I guess I'm doing this now. And I haven't taken the 7 back. She's still managing those, because quite frankly, I don't know I don't really know if I'm going to like this whole property management thing. I might end up still giving them to her. I don't know.
Interesting.
We'll see.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll you have a team already, right? So maybe you create a property management. So my dad was the sales guy, and he sold houses, and my mom created a third-party property management for absentee home, like condo owners in a beach town. We lived in Florida. She had like 200 units that she rented and property managed for absentee owners. So my dad sold houses and was all about sales, and my mom was, he'd like sell someone a condo, and they go, well, who could help us get tenants during season? And he goes, go in the office in the back is my wife, and she does all that. It was great. They were a great tag team. So, but she would never wanted to sell a house or sit in open house, or she was more of she could execute on, she'd list and she'd get tenants and she'd qualify the good tenants and all that jazz. So number 2, so are all of the houses that you own in the same neighborhood?
No, they're in the same city. Well, mostly the same city or suburban area. Yeah. I did own a short-term rental once in North Carolina for a year, and that was a very expensive education. And I said I wouldn't do that again. So that might be after my kids move out of the house and I have more time. But right now I'm sticking with long-term, and it's what I, quote unquote, safe for me. So.
Right. What happened with the short-term that you didn't like?
Oh, I bought it in 2022, and then the market started to go down in 2023. Finding a good property manager was a real challenge out there. It was 11-hour drive for me. And it just, at the end, for me, it was not passive income. Long-term is passive. That was very active income. And I have too many other things that I want to accomplish in life that it was an opportunity cost I got tired of spending on.
Yeah. My girlfriend bought a house in Georgia and they made a lot of money. It was like right at the end of COVID, got a good deal, made a lot of money for a year, was telling me, I can't believe people are paying. But it was such a maintenance nightmare. And like her cleaning crew would keep quitting and she's like, forget it. So she ended up selling. And she goes, I'm so happy I'm not doing that anymore. But then I have other friends that have homes in North Carolina and love it. So, you got to know who you are and what you want to put up with, right? I wouldn't do it either.
Yeah, it was, and they're the property managers are a lot more expensive too. So, and I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm too controlling, but I never thought they did it the way I wanted them to do it.
Right. Exactly. So, with 9, do you do the BRRRR method on all of them?
I did the BRRRR method on all of them except for 1. Yeah.
And and the banks just continue you are qualified? Because like in single family homes, like in shopping centers, we get loans based on the income of the rent roll. It's not based on.
Yeah. So I did, when the interest rates are really low, I did conventional loans. And then I pretty much maxed out. I think I have 8 or 9 conventional loans, and I have 3 commercial loans. And then I am buying one Friday, actually, which will be number 11 for me. And that's also going to be a commercial. Well, I'm buying it cash, but when I get that's going to be a commercial loan. So, and the commercial ones only focus on the income from the rents.
Right. From all the other, from your portfolio, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
What would so of the people that listen to the podcast, we have, I would say 60 to 70% are current investors, but there's probably a good 20 to 30 that have money, but haven't dipped their toe in, because they have that fear factor. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give them?
You just got to do it. It really, your first one's the scariest. It's like ripping that Band-Aid off and doing it. And yes, it is scary, but my huge inspiration, my parents started with just one. They knew a very wealthy man here locally in our town. He said, just buy one a year. Just buy one a year. So they started in the 80s. They started buying one a year. And let me tell you, they travel all over the world all the time. They just got back. They were on a 3-week hike in Uganda. They manage their own, which is crazy to me. They own like 47 doors between duplexes. We do own a couple of commercial properties and single family. But they will, never run out of money, because it's literally mailbox money to them, right? It just shows up, and they just worked really hard. So that's my inspiration to keep going and keep collecting the houses, because I see the vision of what it can do for my family, knowing that they'll never run out of money because rents will continue to go up, their mortgages will continue to go down. The only way you can really screw it up is if you leverage to the hills on it. Or if, somebody wipes it all off, but we'll never sell them. And so, you just keep this going for generations to come. And I know the long-term is going to be amazing. So I don't spend any of the money on the rents that I receive, because I don't have to at this moment in time. And what they did, and my plan is, when I turn 50. So right now I'm in the collection phase. And then when I turn 50, I'm going to do the Dave Ramsey debt snowball, where all the extra money goes towards this one. All the extra money goes towards this one, because to have them free and clear at that time, right, we'll be living a very nice life and never running out of money. It just keeps coming in every month.
So do you get your boys involved at all?
So actually, you did a podcast just last week that I listened to, talking about how nobody talks about money. And let me tell you, Beth, it was very inspirational to me. I was on a trip in Florida at the time with a friend of mine, and I came back, and last night I had a discussion with them, and I said, we're going to start sitting down and we're going to start going over this once a month. not only the household budget, because they, they're 16 and 18, they're going to move out soon. And so talking about the household budget, but also if something happens to me, they're not going to know what to do with it. And I need them to understand what all of it is. And over the years, they know what appreciating assets are. They know what depreciating assets are. I show them the houses and the rents, and they do know, they come and they help me clean out the houses if they're a disaster. They'll help me work on them, and they know this is my house payment, this is the rent. So we do talk about that, but they never really sit down and see it on paper. So I'm going to be a lot more intentional than what I have been to teach them how to.
So I'll tell you what I did with my two. I think that when they turned 18, this is kind of wild, but I took my household budget monthly, which is not a small amount, and I went to the bank and I got it in cash.
Oh,
so let's say it was 20,000. And it's a stack, not that big of a stack, actually, unfortunately, in hundreds. And the bank wanted to know what I was doing with the 20,000. And luckily I know my banker, the ladies at the bank, and I said, I'm going to have an exercise of education with my oldest. And we have a guest bedroom in the back of the house. And I said, can you come in here? And he comes into the bedroom, and there's a TV tray table, and there's a stack of cash. And he goes, are we selling drugs? And I said, sit down. And I said, okay, I'm going to walk through with you the cost of running this household. And I said, okay, at the time I had a mortgage. I said, okay, take $3,000 out for the mortgage. Take $300 for the utility bill. And I went through the entire thing. And I said, what did we not talk about? And he goes, trips, travel, vacations. I go, exactly. This is just what it takes to run this place. Your tuition, your brother's tuition, your singing lessons, your brother's golfing lessons. I mean, it was eye-opening for him.
That is fascinating. I will send you a picture when I do that.
And so my little one, I did it with my older one at 18. My little one who I adopted, I did it with him later, like 22. He was ready later. But so you have to decide when, I own shopping centers, and they were across the street from our kids' school. And Alex, my older one, knew that, you don't go up and down. My little one was like, we own all the shopping centers. So you got to know who your kid is to be able to do that exercise.
Yes.
But it was to this, my older son, Alex, who's 25 now, recently brought this up in a conversation. And he said, when you did that, it was like, it was mind blowing and so educational. And he's a good saver. He just invested. He's out in LA, and he has an entertainment business, and he just invested $25,000 in a deal. His first investment, his own, 25 years old.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
So exciting. So exciting.
What a proud mother moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, I love that.
So you jumped out of an airplane recently. When did you do that? Oh my God. I could never. So I knew that I maybe you had fear when you bought your first deal, but anyone that jumps out of an airplane, I have a t-shirt that says tomboy. And I talk about this a lot because I believe that women who were tomboys are less risk averse.
Oh yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
And have an easier time investing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When I saw that you jumped out of an airplane, I'm like, yeah, she's an investor.
I loved it. I was not scared at all. But as when you raise a kid on your own, and you think, women that I'm friends with, they're like, oh, I could never be a single mom. I couldn't do it without Jack or whatever husband's name is. And I'm like, well, you know what? When you don't have a choice, you just get it done. And so over the years, I've built an insane amount of faith in my abilities, because the number of times I've said, I can't do this. Oh, wait, I've done this. I can't do this. Oh, wait, I manage I own 10 doors 100% on my own. No financial help from anybody. I've done it. So when I think I can't do it, I'm like, oh, I can do that. So I have done some crazy things, and jumping out of an airplane would probably be the craziest. And ironically enough, that was not on my bucket list. I had no desire. It wasn't that I was nervous. It just never really came up. But I'm in a coaching companies. I feel everybody needs a coach of some sort. So I'm in a coaching company, and there were 70 of us that went to Scottsdale a couple weeks ago. It was like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday coaching conference. And they said, hey, if you want to add on, we're going to jump out of airplanes on Friday morning. And I knew that if I did not do it, and I had to listen to people say all weekend long about how amazing it was, I knew I would regret it. And so I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I did it, and no fear. The plane kept going up. And now here's how crazy I am. We had to be at the hotel lobby at 5:00 in the morning and to get to where we needed to be and all the things. And well, at 5 in the hotel, nothing's awake. So you're not eating. I'm an eater. I like my food. So there's 20 of us. You can only go 4 on a plane. That's 5 groups. I'm on the last group, and I'm getting hungry. And I know me. And if I'm up and my stomach is hurting because I'm so hungry, I was afraid I was going to get nervous. This little boy had a hot dog stand. So I jammed a hot dog in my mouth like 10 minutes before jumping out of this airplane. And everybody thought I was crazy. They're like, you're going to throw it up. I'm like, no, this is going to make me feel so much better. So we're climbing, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's actually pretty good height. And the plane doesn't stop, right? It keeps climbing. And I'm like, pretty good height. I mean, we can, this is good. And then it keeps going. And I'm thinking, I'm just not going to look out the window anymore. So then I started looking straight ahead. And the gentleman that was strapped to me told me that I had to lay my head back before we jumped out. I had to lay my head back on his shoulder. So he grabbed my head when we got to the plane. You got to sit on the floor of the plane. Your feet are literally dangling out of an airplane. And I laid my head back. I just shut my eyes. I mean, full transparent. I just shut my eyes. I could not watch myself fall. Yeah. And you're holding on to your straps. And he said, when I do this, then you can, do the wings. So I kept my eyes closed up until he hit me. And then I opened them and I flew, and I was like, this is the most amazing experience I've ever had. Oh my God. I was stoked. I was so excited. Now my 18-year-old, he's like, I want to do that. My 16-year-old, he's like, I've always wanted to do that. My father's a risk taker. My dad's like, well, who's 72. He's like, if you guys are doing it, I'm doing it. My mom is like, I mean, if you guys are going to do it, I guess I'm going to do it. My brother's in. So now you have to be 18. So when my 16-year-old, he will be 18 next December. We're going to have this big, yes, as long as it's not too cold, we're going to have this big Revoir skydiving event. Fabulous. And I am so stoked. I am so stoked. Fabulous. My sister-in-law will be on the ground vomiting, afraid that all of us are going to die at the same time, but we're going to have fun.
That's amazing. I love that. That is going to be awesome. I love that story. The other thing that I wanted to talk about before we start wrapping up and talking about your coaching programs, I just reposted one of your videos. I saw the video 2 weeks ago about, when you're growing, you feel like you're dying. I loved it. I just reposted it today on Instagram when I was saying, hey, watch us tonight on Women Investor Wednesday. Talk about that for a second, because it's so true.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that as humans, there's the constant need to find your purpose. Everybody's like, why am I alive? What's my purpose in life? And it is growing. Growth is a necessary thing. If we're not growing and we're not learning and what are we doing? What is life about? Trying to figure that out. And I truly believe that people need to find the soil that they're going to grow the most in. And it might be where you're at right now. It might not be where you're at right now. Find the soil that gives you the most the most opportunities of growth. And that's what I've tried to do over the years. You and I are both involved in GoBundance. That has helped me grow an immense amount. But it's extremely scary to grow too. Just like a plant, there's going to be times where we're withering away, and it's just making sure that you're constantly feeding yourself, and you're taking care of yourself, and you're making sure that you are the priority in life, in terms of we have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves so that we have enough to give to other people. If I wanted to show up with you today and bring value to your audience, I need to make sure that I'm in peak prime physical, I got a good night's sleep. I'm not hungry. I want to show up the best. And you have done that over the years, over and over and over. And it really there's always opportunity for growth. Surround yourself with growth-minded people that love to just challenge ourselves. I love to be challenged. I love to take risks. Because once you overcome them, and once you realize, jumping out of an airplane is pretty cool. It's really not all that bad. If I can do that, I've walked on fire within Tony Robbins. If I can walk on fire and I can jump out of an airplane, what can't I do? The answer is nothing. I can do anything I put my mind to.
Absolutely. Okay. So when at my conference, I stand up when I open the conference and I say, I'm not going to upsell you. I have no coaching program to sell. I just want to make you aware of what you're not doing, which, the stats say you're not doing it. Now we're growing those stats, but many of my speakers, I say, talk to them. They have programs. You have a program. Talk about your program, because they need to learn. It's just that I'm not going to be the one teaching them.
My program, it's really nothing extremely formal. I like to start off with a conversation to make sure that we can help each other and that we're the right fit for each other. So that's extremely important to me. I don't have any sign up with me for a year. It's really having a conversation and seeing what fits. And really just trying to figure out if we can benefit each other, and if I can teach you, where you want to go, what you want to do, and how we can help each other. So it's nothing super formal. I've just had so many people over the years that have just reached out to me and asked for help, whether that's growing their real estate career, growing a team, because I'm really good at that too, growing their investments. And a lot of times it's just helping people overcome maybe some mental blocks that they have. It might be a short-term 1 month or 2 month, just a couple of times that we're meeting, a week or however often that they want. So I don't have anything super formal at the moment, because I really just want to see how I can help each person on an individual level.
I love that. What is next for Kellie? How many units do you want to do what your mom and dad did, one a year? Do you want to do more? How many a year from now? How many units will you have? How many doors?
So between now and the end of the year, I will have purchased 3 more, which will put me at 13. And I don't really know that I have a set, I want this many units, because I never thought that I would hit 13 in 7 years. So there was a year I didn't buy any, and then there was a year that I bought 4. So really it's going back to being an amazing real estate agent. We get gifted a lot of opportunities. So I don't ever want to put a number on it, but I do know that every year in December, I write myself a letter of where I want to be next year. And then I seal it. And every year, I have opened up that letter the next December and met every single goal that I have written down for myself.
Love that. I do that with my family at Thanksgiving. And we started when the kids were 3, and I would make everyone from the 3-year-old to my 98-year-old ex-mother-in-law. And they have to put 3 goals down, and I keep them in a binder. And then the next year I pull out the binder. They get to look at all the prior years, specifically the year before, and see where they have, if they've achieved it or not. And, when they were 3, it was don't fight with my brother and brush my teeth. And then I have 3 nieces, and one of the best things was we were in a cabin in North Carolina at a VRBO or Airbnb, and I brought all the binders, and she opens it up and she starts crying because the year before she said, get accepted to UT. And she had gotten the acceptance letter that day.
Oh my gosh, it's magical. So
Magic.
2 years ago, we were at our team retreat and it was like December 4th. And I said, I want to buy 3 rental units. And I was only at 2. And I was like, well, that kind of stinks. I didn't get my full 3. 2 weeks later, I got the opportunity to buy one. I literally closed on it December 29th, which would have been my 3rd one. And I'm like,
Oh my
there's
God.
something to this.
Yes. And what will you consider doing other asset classes, or you're good with the single families?
I'm good with duplexes, single families. Multifamily is something I would really like to get in, right? Like to get into. I am involved in a couple of syndications. It's not anything that I want to pursue any further, only because I like to recycle my money quickly, about every, 2 to 3 months. When you're in a syndication, they sit on the money for years. Not something I want to do in the future, but it was an amazing learning experience and I didn't lose anything. I'm just ready to pull them back out and go back to the BRRRR method, and get the opportunity, because I luckily do have cash to invest in multifamily if I wanted to. But again, not everybody, you don't just show up where Beth is. You don't just show up where I am. It is a slow process. And you just have to stay the course, put one foot in front of the other, because it can absolutely be done. Just don't wake up and go, oh my gosh, I can never do that. I don't have that kind of money, because you truly, absolutely can. I never thought I would be able to do it. Here I am, but it is just being around other people that can show you that it can be done, because never would have thought some woman living on welfare as a single parent to a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be where I am today. And I know you feel the same way. I heard your story.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things I like about GoBundance that you mentioned we're both a member of. When I first joined, I think they said, okay, we have about 142 women in the group.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, but about 125 of them are investors.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, this is my tribe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And all kinds of different investors in all different facets. I've learned so much. It's one of the things that got me to where I am today was joining that company. Let's see, it'd been 4 years now. So I was just getting started in my real estate investing. I think I was only 3 years in. And I tell you, learning about that has just catapulted me to places that I didn't even know existed, or just thought were so far out of reach.
Kellie, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining Women Investor Wednesdays.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity so, so much.
Have a nice evening.
Okay. You too, Beth. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Oh, wait. So what's the best way for them to get in touch with you? Is it Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram or Facebook, either one. It's just my first and last name. So nothing, it's very simple. Just the @handler with my first and last name.
There you go. I put it in the chat. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.
You. Bye.
Bye-bye. Awesome.